Welcome back, guys. In this section of the course, we're going to start moving forward to texturing. So I opened up Substance Painter for the first time and we're greeted with this pop-up that says home screen. You can just close this out and you can press Control N to bring up the new project template. And if you don't want to press the hotkeys and you want to know how to find that, you can just go to File, New, and then you're greeted with the same pop-up. Now, we're not going to touch too much on here. The document resolution is the size of the working viewport that you're going to be using. So if you want to use 2K textures, you can do that here. You can change it. If not, you can change it later on throughout the project. Now here where it says auto unwrap, if we didn't do our manual unwrap for our character, alternatively, we can let Substance Painter try to do a rough automatic for us. You can check that. Hit options where it says recompute, you can choose this. And then you can just press OK. But since we have our character done already, we're gonna leave this alone. If we were using UDIMs, which is like multiple sets of UVs, you can check this and go forth. But since we're not going to be using that, we're going to leave it alone as well. And where it says File, Select, here's where you select your low poly that we exported out of Blender. And here is my file, so I'm going to grab that, hit open, and hit OK. And now you're going to see our character pop up. So this is how you import your model into Substance Painter. Now we're going to do what we call baking. We're not going to touch on how to navigate the viewport and the UI just yet. We're going to do that within the next video. First and foremost, I want to just start baking. So typically what baking is when you have a high poly model and a low poly model and you want to get that high poly detail into your low poly mesh, you do what's called baking. But since we're not going to use the high poly, we're going to bake our low poly to low. So to do that, go right next to layers, hit texture set settings, and here we're going to middle mouse scroll down and go to bake mesh maps. And that's going to change our UI to our baking UI. So you see here it says output size. Here you can output the texture size that you want. You can do 2K or 4K. I'm probably going to do 4K. I'll do 2K for now, just for the sake of the tutorial. Where it says high poly. Here, if you had a high poly model, you can just select it here and bring it in. But I'm not going to be using a high poly. So I'm going to check use low poly mesh as high poly mesh. And here is the frontal distance. You can choose how close your high poly is to your low poly. Since we're not doing a high poly model, this is useless to us. Anti-aliasing, we can change that to maybe 16 by 16. Mesh, always, if you have multiple meshes and you had them organized by color ID, you would use this, but you would check by mesh name if you have multiple meshes on the same UV sheet and you wanted them separated. We're not going to use this. We're going to leave it on always for now. Here is the low poly mesh suffix. So I told you whenever I model something, I always have it underscore low, and then when I scope something high, it'll be underscore high. So you can match these up. So with that being done, we're just going to hit bake selected maps, and this may take a while. So go grab a coffee or whatever you want to drink and come back. All right, guys, our maps are done for our different materials. Now what we can do is go back to texturing mode, and I think this is a good place to end this video. In the next video, we're going to start learning about the UI a little bit and start to texture our model. So let's go to File and let's just save this.